Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're jumping straight into a 13th century marvel that perfectly weaves together magnificent architecture, incredibly precise astronomy, and some truly captivating legends. We're talking about the Konark Sun Temple. Now, this isn't just another story about ancient ruins. We're taking a deep dive into an architectural wonder where art, science, and human drama collide in ways that honestly still baffle modern researchers today. So let's kick things off with a mind-bending puzzle about ancient engineering that incredibly still works perfectly right now. How exactly does a massive structure built entirely out of stone, sitting right near the coast of India, act as a highly precise timekeeping device? I mean, we're talking about an era long before digital clocks or even standard mechanical watches. And yet, the architects of this temple managed to capture the exact movement of the cosmos and lock it into solid rock. To wrap our heads around this mechanism, we really have to look at the guy who dreamed it up in the first place. The temple was built right around 1250 CE by King Narasimhadeva I of the Eastern Ganga dynasty. And he didn't want just your run-of-the-mill place of worship. He envisioned a colossal celestial chariot for the sun god Surya. In Hindu texts, Surya actually traverses the heavens every single day, and the king wanted to bring that exact celestial journey down to earth in the form of a massive, tangible monument. And the sheer scale and material mastery of Kalinga architecture they used to pull this off is just staggering. They designed the entire temple complex as this gigantic chariot. It's got 7 stone horses that look like they're literally pulling the structure. And the whole thing rests on 12 pairs of intricately carved stone wheels. That's 24 wheels in total. Plus, the builders didn't just use one type of rock. They carefully selected specific materials for different jobs. They used chlorite for the main deities and fine carvings, laterite for the invisible foundation and core platform gaps, and condylite for the vast majority of the main structure. But a vision this grand obviously required an unimaginable amount of human effort. It took a staggering 1,200 craftsmen toiling away for 12 relentless years to meticulously carve these massive stones. Just imagine the coordination, the logistics, and the sheer exhausting physical labor required to move and sculpt these giant blocks of stone by hand hundreds of years ago. And here is where you really see the scientific genius hiding inside the art. Out of those 24 colossal wheels, each one spans roughly 9 feet 9 inches in diameter. So we're talking nearly 10 feet across. But these massive wheels aren't just decorative motifs to make the chariot look good. They are highly precise astronomical instruments. They represent the 12 months of the Hindu calendar, highlighting the cyclical nature of time, and they function directly as actual working sundials. So how do you read a giant stone clock? It's actually a brilliant step-by-step process that lets an observer measure the exact time down to the minute. First, you start by finding the shadow cast by the central hub of the wheel. Then you look at the 8 major spokes. These spokes represent the 8 pars of the day, which are basically 3-hour intervals. By looking at exactly where the shadow falls between these major spokes and using the smaller, intricate carvings in between as a guide, you can calculate the exact time. It is an absolutely stunning marriage of artistic beauty and astronomical precision. But you might be wondering, what happens when the sun goes down? Well, for centuries, people just assumed the wheels were purely symbolic at night. But no, they actually function as moon dials too. This was a tightly guarded secret for hundreds of years. In fact, it stayed hidden for about 650 years until a mysterious yogi was spotted secretly calculating the time at night using just the moonlight hitting the wheels. Legend has it, when he was confronted, he simply walked away, but the secret of the ancient astronomers was finally out in the open. But behind all of this breathtaking precision lies a pretty dramatic human story, filled with immense pressure and impossible deadlines. See, the king was growing incredibly impatient. The crown of the Sun Temple's top hadn't been finished yet, and that 12-year deadline was rapidly approaching. So the king issued a terrifying ultimatum: finish the temple by morning, or all 1,200 craftsmen would be executed. The cultural impact of this massive undertaking and the king's brutal threat was beautifully captured in Odia literature. Specifically, this highly emotional story was popularized back in the 19th century by Utkalamani Gopabandhu Das in his poem, The Autobiography of Dharmapada. He actually wrote this work while he was imprisoned, and it introduced the world to the legendary tale of a 12-year-old boy named Dharmapada, who was the son of the temple's chief architect, Bishu Maharana. According to the legend, this young boy, who had actually never even met his father, arrived at the construction site and found the craftsmen in absolute despair. Using the architectural knowledge passed down through his family, Dharmapada single-handedly solved the structural puzzle and placed the final crowning stone, effectively saving the entire project. But the artisans were terrified. They thought the king would execute them anyway if he found out a literal child had succeeded where they had failed. So to save his father and the 1,200 masons from the king's wrath, Dharmapada made the ultimate sacrifice. He jumped into the Chandrabhaga River to keep the secret safe forever. It's a powerful, tragic myth that really emphasizes both devotion and the heavy, heavy human cost of this incredible craftsmanship. Shifting gears from myth to history, we've got to ask the big question. What actually brought this magnificent, heavily fortified structure into its current state of decay? Today, the main sanctum isn't even intact anymore, and a lot of the complex is just ruins. How did a monument built with such robust stone and precise engineering completely fall apart? Well, let's compare the theories, because there are some wild ones out there. On one side, you have these romantic seafaring fables. The most famous legend claims a massive 52-ton magnetic lodestone sat right at the temple's peak, literally levitating the main iron-cast sun idol in midair. The story goes that this immense magnetic field disrupted the compasses of passing Portuguese ships, throwing them off course. So, in retaliation, the sailors supposedly stole the giant magnet, which ruined the structural balance and caused the whole temple to collapse. But the historical reality is much more grounded. There are exactly 0 historical records supporting a giant magnet, or even local earthquakes. Instead, the architectural evidence points to the heavy use of iron beams that probably rusted and failed over time, leading to structural balance issues. Some historians even suggest the temple's construction was left in a haphazard, incomplete state after the early death of the king. But despite its partial collapse and the mystery surrounding its decay, its towering, dark silhouette remained an incredibly prominent feature. European sailors navigating the Bay of Bengal relied on it heavily as a major coastal landmark. Because of its dark granite tower and that tiered appearance silhouetted against the skyline, they famously dubbed it the Black Pagoda. Fast forward to today, and the massive responsibility of ensuring this architectural wonder doesn't completely disappear falls to the Archaeological Survey of India, or the ASI. They've got the monumental task of stepping in to save this ancient site by using modern technology and some very rigorous conservation policies. Because to combat the elements, some seriously extensive and careful interventions are required. These intricate carvings face constant threats from coastal saline action, wind erosion, waterlogging, and, of course, the heavy foot traffic of modern tourism. All the scaffolding and restoration structures you might see there today are part of an ongoing, painstaking effort to stabilize and preserve the site without compromising its historical integrity. And these preservation steps are actually super fascinating when you look at how modern engineering is stepping up to protect ancient brilliance. For instance, the ASI is undertaking a massive project to extract century-old sand from inside the assembly hall using mechanical platforms and stainless steel beams. They also clean the delicate stone surfaces using a really gentle paper pulp method. And if you've ever visited and noticed plain, totally uncarved stones mixed with the intricate sculptures, that's completely intentional. The ASI fills missing gaps with plain stones to prevent water from getting in and to provide structural stability, ensuring they don't try to fake the history by carving new, modern designs. They also apply periodic biocidal treatments just to stop plant roots from tearing the ancient stones apart. As we wrap up this explainer, we're really left to ponder the incredible, enduring legacy of the Konark Sun Temple. From its mathematically perfect sundials and hidden moon dials, to the heartbreaking legends of its creation and the wild magnetic myths of its fall, it is a true testament to human ingenuity. It really makes you wonder, will anything we build today stand the test of time, weather the harsh coastal elements, and inspire this same level of awe and mythological wonders 750 years from now? Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive, and keep questioning the history behind the structures around you.